In this video, we're going to talk about how to land your first $5,000 worth of clients in your AI agency. If you're not sure who I am, my name is Joel House. I've done nearly 8 figures in my agency over the last 10 years. I have helped others build their agencies in different industries in the past. And now the AI agency is where I'm going all in on. I've sold everything from ads to SEO, you name it. And I really believe that AI agency and variations of this hold some of the greatest potential that we've honestly seen in the last sort of 5 to 6 years. There was a real lull period in agency life where the old ad agency model was saturated, but there wasn't anything new to jump into. And AI, especially implementing very strategic AI solutions, has opened up a great way to do that. So if you're watching this video, you already know you want to get clients in your AI agency. So let's talk about that. So the first thing you need to understand is the magic is 0 to 1. Until you get a client, you're not an AI agency. You're someone who wants to have an AI agency. Now, once you have one client, you are now someone who owns an AI agency. And what will happen is the universe, quantum energy, and just everyone around you will actually start supporting that. So the hardest part is going from 0 to your first client. Once you have that done, not only is that first client the ability to create referrals if you really do a great job and incentivize them correctly, but you also are now telling the world, I am an AI agency owner. So 0 to 1 is the hardest thing. Now, one of my mentors early on told me this. He said, if you can get 1 client, you can get 2. If you can get 2, you can get 4. If you can get 4, you can get 8. If you can get 8, you can basically scale from there. Now, I took that. We used to run 100 plus clients simultaneously. So it was a very, very scaled agency. And it all started with 1. Now, the first thing you need to think of is intent versus quality. And I'm going to run through a little bit of a mindset here for about a minute or two before we dig into the exact tactics. So if you want these exact tactics, skip ahead. However, I'd recommend that you hold back because I can give you the exact playbook to scale to $100,000 a month in 3 months. But if you aren't running the right mindset around what it takes to build an agency, then it's not going to help. So the first thing you really need to wrap your head around is what the intent is of a lead versus the quality of a lead. Now, I say that because getting a solid buying intent makes things way easier at the beginning than just going after the best quality leads. That is, there's this perception that if you reach out to your dream client, that it's going to be a better client. And that is, people think, you know what? If let's say you're selling AI lead services, and you say, you know what, I want to work for the biggest law firms in America. Now, the challenge with that is you're not ready for them. And it could take 6 months to close that deal. Where if you find someone with the right intent, think platforms like Upwork or people that are actively looking to buy, that's going to be a much easier deal to get started with. Now, the next step I'm going to suggest is to build a war plan. Now, a war plan is something you execute on every single day with laser-like precision. Because what's going to happen is through this video, and if you watch other videos on my channel that are coming up, you're going to have some very strong tactics to actually take away and implement. Now, if you don't have a structured war plan of non-negotiable time every day to do the tasks required, you're going to find them getting lost in the meaningless stuff. Now, what I'd recommend doing is blocking off your most productive hours. Now, for me, that's my hours sort of from 9 till 12:1. That's my most productive time for anything that is business growth related. After that 1 o'clock, I go into a bit of an afternoon lull. I don't feel like being as extroverted, talking, shooting videos, doing applications, scaling campaigns. So that's when I structure my day to do client tasks. The other thing is, especially if you don't have any client tasks to do, building more automations, building more website, all that stuff, great, not going to get you paid. What's going to get you paid is executing on your war plan. So set the dedicated time. And you can see up here, I've actually got a tab. Actually, you can't see my tabs. I've got a tab called Daily War Plan. And it is what I execute on every day to achieve the level of growth that we've had and not just level of growth. And that's something that I believe, and I'm going to share on this channel, is not just how do you go from 0 to 20K to 50K to 100K a month, how do you sustain it? Because it's very easy to grow quickly. It's a very different game to sustain it for nearly a decade. And that's something that I'm seeing in the space, is a lot of people haven't sustained it. So let's jump into the next point, which is, where do you find buying intent leads? Now, if you have got 0 clients, if you've got 1 client, I would recommend leveraging Upboard, leveraging job boards, freelancer.com, checking out LinkedIn, even for people that have job postings live, and I'll cover that in a minute. That's in the building system section. But what I'd do is I'd go to Upwork, and I'm going to pull Upwork up a moment. So I've got Upwork up, and what I would recommend doing is you come in to find work and you can search. Now, if you're US only, if you are registered in the US, if you live in the US, this US only tab is fantastic, because what you have here is you have the ability to bid against only other contractors in the US. Now, if you're looking to sell AI services, I'd recommend, honestly, going automation. Automation is going to be the best search term you can have here. And then you can delve deeper. So what you've got automation, tag the US only, and then you're going to say build organization wide dashboard in Monday.com with automations, forms, and dashboards. Great. AI automated specialist for social media auto posting system. These guys are looking to spend $2,500 getting an auto posting system built. And if you come in here, they're saying, cool, we're looking for Zapier/Make. Honestly, you can use Make there. ChatGPT. You want someone to build a font, monitor a folder. Yeah, this is a relatively easy build. And it's $2,500. They're literally telling you, I have $2,500 here. You're halfway to $5,000 if you land that. Now, what I'd recommend doing, and this is going to come into the standout section. When you apply, okay, and I'll do this one live because it's actually a great job, and I'll probably apply for this afterwards for $2,500 because I know that the team can build it out pretty quick. You come in and you say apply as a freelancer. And then if you don't already have two portfolios set up, you'll use your portfolio. My general portfolio is my automation one. This requires 20 connects, so it's not exactly a cheap job to apply for. However, it's worth it. Now, what you have down here is you got your cover letter, you got all this information here, and then you have the ability, where did it disappear to? So what I'd recommend at the very least is shooting a video with Loom and putting it in here. Now in Loom, what I'd recommend doing is I would recommend building out a quick placeholder workflow. If you already have a template, which you probably do, to build this job, I'd put the template, and on make.com, I'd say, hey, this is how I'd do it. I'd do a module here that does this, maybe a module here, module there, boom, 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 boom. I can have this live for you in 7 days, boom, 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 boom. And you just explain to them how you'd actually approach the job. Now, if you can afford it, I'd recommend going to the Plus, because this one, if I am not mistaken, unless I've changed it, they could have changed it. There used to be a very easy way to put a video in. When I say used to, like a month ago. I haven't applied for too many jobs recently. Yeah, find out how to do it. I'm going to quickly subscribe and I'll loop back. Okay, so I've got the Plus. Now, it still is not allowing me to add the video like it used to. So what I recommend doing, filling in your cover letter. In this, again, you want to showcase, hey, I'm the person for this job. Shoot a Loom video. Always use a Loom video in your application. I say Loom, not attachment, because Loom comes in your cover letter. Put it in the second line of the cover letter. You want to ask some questions. Asking questions means that you've understood the brief. So what you want to do here is be like, hey, what sort of volumes are you looking at covering? Do you want me to build this in my accounts or your accounts? Any other technical things as you really scope this out. So monitor a folder where I drop photos, names will be included, extract the file names, use ChatGPT to auto-generate captions, hashtags, short promotional and descriptive text, send content image to my social media scheduler, auto-schedule and post on Instagram and Facebook. The goal is once I drop a photo into the system, yeah. So here you'd be like, hey, are you open to just ChatGPT, or are you open to me using other models as well? And you'd be like, I find Claude works better at actually writing content. So those are things that I'd recommend building into your applications. And remember, solve your problems. Don't sell yourself. Solve their problems, sorry. Your job is not to say, I'm the best. Your job is to say, hey, I'm here to serve you and fix your problems. And that's how you stand out. Now, the next step, I would recommend networking. And LinkedIn is crucial for this. So if you're not publishing content on LinkedIn already, publish. You can do short videos. You can just use ChatGPT to write up posts about AI automation. And I'll tell you a quick story about this. I was at the park on Christmas Day, actually, with our daughter. She was riding her new bike, so we took her down the park, and I was chatting with another dad down there. Believe it or not, parks are actually busy on Christmas Day. So I was down there, and I was chatting with this other dad, and he was like, hey, what do you do? And I was like, I help SaaS companies grow using AI automations. And it's like, that's really interesting. And he was like, what sort of automations? And I was like, well, I build a lot of outreach sales systems leveraging heavily personalized messaging to get really great response rates. And he said, that's really cool. He's like, let's actually chat. I actually am the CEO of a SaaS company who is looking at growing. And I was like, cool, let's chat. And that's kind of where it was left. Now I get home and he'd actually checked my LinkedIn account. And he texts me, he's like, hey, I just checked your LinkedIn. You're right. This is what you do. Let's chat. Now, the key there is he didn't just take my word for it. He went and checked LinkedIn. And the content I put on LinkedIn convinced him to have a meeting. Within 7 days, I gave him a proposal for a $20,000 a month build based on obviously the value that was required and everything that's required to build case studies and build sales assets and build autoresponders and build loads of different elements involved, plus also pricing around the opportunity there. So that's the power of having a really dialed in LinkedIn account, specifically when you're selling AI systems, because you're selling business to business and LinkedIn is your profile. Having a YouTube, having a Instagram, that's more B2C. LinkedIn is where you want to be at. So definitely publish the content and get it going daily. Like you can schedule on LinkedIn's default tools. Like you don't need to buy fancy schedulers. There's a lot of also great soft tools out there that actually help you write LinkedIn specific posts, either from audio or video. So there's some really cool stuff there. Now, the next way I'd recommend getting from $0 to $5,000 a month with your AI agency is to leverage your warm network. So people you already know are so much more likely to do business with you. I remember one of the clients that we work with these days, and it's a beautiful $7,000 a month client. That's simply because I knew him from my daughter's school. My daughter's school, we were chatting, we were swimming over summer. I was asking about his business, what he does, what problems he has. Whenever he was telling me about the wins he's having, they're saying we're doing this and we're having this issue with our outreach. And I was like, hey, this is how I'd recommend solving that. So just building those relationships and then boom, $7,000 a month client out the other side. Now, every person you know in your life is a potential warm network. That is past bosses. I know people that have gone back to their past bosses and said, hey, I used to do this job for you. I can automate that job now. You can do it to your current boss if you're working. Be like, hey, I actually strongly believe I can automate a good chunk of my workflow, and I've seen that done as well. Also, friends with businesses. Any friends you have with businesses, have a chat with them. Be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'd love to do. If you're dealing with a friend, the most valuable thing you can get at the beginning is actually a case study and a great video case study. So what I'd recommend doing if you're working with friends, be like, hey, I'll build this first one for you. I'll build it for free. Let's just get it automating in your business. If it saves you some money, feel free to send me some. And most people will. And at the beginning, frame it as, I'd love to get my first case study built. I'd love to then sit down with you on Zoom or sit down with you with an iPhone set up and filming us both for 10, 20 minutes and talk to you about the effects that this has had on your business. Now, that video you turn into a case study. That video you can then attach in a PDF where you built out your case study, and having the video takes the credibility of that case study to the next level. That now becomes a sales asset for you when you start building outbound systems. So examples of warm network, you've got businesses you already buy from. If you go to the same mechanic, talk to the mechanic. If you have someone clean your house, talk to the person that cleans your house. If you go to a local cafe and you think you can automate them. If you realize that your barber, you have to call them to book an appointment instead of walking in, or instead of, scheduling, there's so many just opportunities sitting everywhere. Now, I've actually heard of a guy who would get multiple people to come and give him quotes to fix something in his house. And he'd use the opportunity as an opportunity to pitch them. So if something broke, he wouldn't just get one quote and one person. Let's say it was a broken toilet. He'd actually get 4 plumbers to come and quote on fixing the toilet, because a lot of people offer free quotes. And every plumber that came, he would actually pitch them. And usually for everything that broke, he would get a client which more than paid for the thing that broke. So you've got to always be thinking, how can I do this? So that would be the warm network. Now, if you take this and build it into your war plan, and let's update this war plan a sec, because this is where we now need to get you into a plan. If I was starting from scratch, and this is what I did, I'd do 20 Upwork applications a day. Now, that will cost some connects. You've got to obviously pick and choose the different jobs that you're going after. Like this job was obviously 20 connects. What have we got here? Build organization-wide dashboard. What have we got there for connects? Apply. That's also 20 connects. Now, US only jobs will usually be higher in the connect level. Expert ClickUp configuration expert. What have we got there? There's not that many people applied yet, so it's going to be 4 connects. Now, these guys also haven't paid. It looks like their first time doing this. New business looking for workflows and high level. Hourly, $35 to $80 an hour. If you're starting from scratch, if people really want you to do hourly, do it. I would very much recommend trying to get these through to fixed price contracts. It enables you to think more creatively at how you actually deliver work. So Upwork Daily, LinkedIn, 1 to 2 posts a day. Warm network. To be honest, LinkedIn, I'd also send 20 connection requests daily. And pick an industry that you'd like to target long term. Now, I believe that building outbound systems, things like that, you come after you have hammered and taken advantage of Upwork, and also after you have leveraged your warm network. Going cold is hard. Selling to cold people is hard. They don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you, and you're just someone else who's trying to sell them something. Where your warm network sees you as a trusted, person. They already know who you are. Warm network, I'd honestly look at starting 1 conversation a day. Now, that can be something as simple as texting an old boss and being like, hey, this is what I'm doing. If you think and really take some thinking time, you can find at least 30 people in your warm network, whether it's people you're on sports teams with, people your kids know. Just talk to them. And if they don't have a business, but that you know that they're a connected person, offer them a 20% referral. Be like, hey, I know you're a connected person. Like, obviously your business doesn't, or they don't have a business, or they work for a company. Be like, hey, I'll give you a 20% split. I've offered that to some of my friends and some of my friends who have businesses, because I don't always want to, my work's not always a fit for their business. Sometimes I have people in-house that do it. But offering a 20% split, you just see them calculate the numbers. I had one friend I sat down with recently, and I was talking to him, and his business wasn't the right fit, but he's like, how much money do you, if I'm doing a database reactivation, do you make? I was like, well, we usually charge about $50 per reactivation in the industry he was in. And he said, okay, I've got a friend with a 1 million person database. What's the conversion rates like? I was like, how old's the data? He said, it's all within 2 years. I was like, okay, 2-year data will probably reactivate at about 3%. So I was like, okay, so 1 million, that's 30,000 people. I was like, yep. He's like, at $50 a pop. He's like, okay, 35, 150, 1.5. Hang on. He's like, hang on, 1.5 million. I was like, that sounds about right. He's like, hang on. You're telling me if I make this introduction, I get 20% trailing commission for life? I was like, correct. He's like, so if I was to make the introduction and you were to do what you said you do for his entire database, you'd pay me $300,000. I was like, correct. And you just saw his brain thinking. He's like, hang on, I could buy a new Porsche. I could buy a new Lamborghini. I could pay off my mortgage with one introduction. Picks up the phone. Hey, Mike, I'd like to meet you to Joel. Joel does da 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 da. Do you think that's something you're relevant with? Yes, actually I do. Great, let's have a meeting. Within a week I was on having a meeting with him and we're doing a build. So that's the power of incentivizing your warm network. Give them an opportunity to make some money. And by doing that, you're leveraging their reach as well. So that is what I'd do if I was to mention per day plus referral, finder's fee. I do 20% recurring. I want to make it very lucrative and valuable and just price it in. So if you were to do this for 30 days, now I know that 99% of people watching this video will not do it. They just won't. But if you do this for 30 days, you will get $5,000 worth of sales unless there is something seriously wrong with the way that you're pitching. And if you do this for 30 days and you do not close any clients, message me privately, let's jump on a call and let's resolve it, because I want you to succeed. It's that simple. I'm doing these videos because I want you to succeed in the business that's enabled me and my family to have an extraordinary lifestyle. So hit me up if you, but you've got to show me. You've got to show me your Upwork applications daily. You've got to show me your LinkedIn profile. You've got to show me conversations you've had with people. And then I can actually have data to critique. So that is it. If you want to go and build systems, I started filling this tab out and I sat back and went, you know what? Building systems such as cold outreach, such as automated LinkedIn, such as automated whatever, until you've exhausted good, solid buying intent leads, which is Upwork every day, which is your warm network every day, which is networking events in person. Like if you sit down at a business networking breakfast in your city, and they have them all over the country, if you sit down and say, I help businesses save money building automation systems and I get paid on performance, or I get paid a portion of the money I save you, or hey, I can take your old lead list and I can turn it into cash on a performance basis, you are literally going to collect numbers and have meetings set up like that, because there's not a business owner on earth that if they like and trust the person pitching it, that's the key, that won't take you up on that offer. So with that said, thanks for watching. Any questions, drop them below. I want someone to show me that they've done all this. And P.S., once you've done it, once you've actually executed your war plan, shoot me a message. I'd love to help you in some way scale from that 5K to 50K, which is the next step. So have an amazing day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.